Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. How's everyone doing today? I hope all is well. Happy Tuesday to you all. Thank you for being here again today on this channel with me. I appreciate every last one of you, and thank you, my new subscriber, as well as my old subscribers. And please keep showing up, and we're going to be talking about different things in different ways, and we're going to be connecting the dots to healing, growing, and evolving. So let's get into this topic today, and it's called the Black Sheep. I think not too long ago I did a topic like this, but I'm going to go further into this topic because there's reasons why I'm doing this. Um, Excuse me, guys, allergies, even though the cold is going away. But anyway, um, I like to, when I think about the black sheep, and usually when I say that, the black sheep of the family, right? I think about David and Goliath. So much so that I had purchased a video and I watched that video of David and Goliath. And, because you can read the Bible, but the video was in depth and it made me understand a little bit more what David went through. Now, back in the day during that time, David was a lowly shepherd boy. And what that meant is that he was poor, very poor. Um, Being a shepherd boy was probably one of the lowest position that you can have at that particular time. And I think he was the youngest of his brothers. And he was looked upon as being a black sheep because to them he had no worth. He was a skinny, according to, what I saw, a skinny young kid. He wasn't a kid, maybe he was just, I'm assuming that he could have been in his late teens or early 20s. And nobody really paid attention to him too much, except for his father who loved him dearly. And I'm going by what I saw in the movie as well, mostly. Um, and but David loved God and he had faith in God. And he was very plain. He wasn't, he was very humble. And he was just not looked upon in a way that people look at certain people today. Like you can look at somebody and say that that person is going to be very powerful, very great, etc. But that's in the eyes of man. When God look at people, he look at us so differently. And he has his reasons why he does what he does. He doesn't look at things in the same light as mankind does. So the story of David intrigues me because, you know, when I think about what he went through and how his brothers, were so jealous and envious of him. And, you know, they had that kind of attitude. Why David? But, Goliath came along and he was terrorizing the Israelites, bullying them and, you know, hurting them and doing all types of stuff, right? And so God got tired of it and he, stay with me, everybody, because I'm going to connect the dots here. He got tired of it and sent David to rescue the Israelites. And when David asked his father, can he, handle Goliath? They looked at him, his brothers looked at him like, say what? Because here he is, the skinny little, you know, they looked at him as a kid and a nobody. You know, Goliath must have been about 7, 8 feet tall, maybe taller than that, and huge. And he was just terrorizing them, and they were afraid of him. But David wasn't afraid. He said, he have God with him. His faith was so strong in God. And they're looking at him like, sit down. I mean, they didn't say that back then and there. I'm just adding my little spin to it. Sit down, shut up kind of attitude because who are you? You're going to get yourself killed, blah, blah, right? And so in the movie, and they made this kid look really skinny and like, like a joke. And when they finally agreed to let him go and stand in front of Goliath, David, Goliath was like, what are you guys doing? Laughing and joking and saying, come on, you're going to get this kid killed. He didn't really want to fight him at first. But David said, I come in the name of the Lord. He doesn't come on his own. He come representing God. And so, you know, you guys who know the story know with the slingshot in a rock, what he did to Goliath. He slayed him and then cut his head off. And before it got to that point, his brothers were like, why him? And even after he did this, David was looked upon in a different way. But I like the story, and I watched the whole movie from the beginning to the end. I actually own it. And one of the reasons why it's my favorite is because of the way I start to connect how God do things. God will take how do I say this? I wrote it down. He would take someone who looks so insignificant and not like everybody else. And this is why I refer to it as the black sheep. He would take someone who looked weak, insignificant, and put them in from a position of lowliness and take them and put them in a position of greatness. And people can't see it. They're like, this person is, a nobody. Who is this? But David gained respect after he slayed Goliath. He actually at some point became king. And no one saw that coming. And I'm talking about this because sometimes we can be the black sheep of our family, the ones that people talk about. Girls, sit down, shut up. Boys, sit down, shut up. You're never going to have nothing. You're never going to be anything. This is it for you in life. And that's how some of them look upon you. Like, girl, you're not going to be nothing. You're not going to have. And they see you as low, very low. But God see something different. And sometimes God will use these things to our advantage. Sometimes we have to go through it in order to get from A to B to C. And when you are the black sheep of the family, people look at you like you're insignificant. I'm going to use that word, insignificant. They don't want to recognize you in anything, and you don't mean much. And I talk about that because, I'm considered that way and have been since I was a child. I was that nerdy, skinny kid that always had a book, always read stories, always, loved my schoolwork, loved to write. I guess that's why I'm a published author, besides other things that I do. And it just, was very different from everybody else. So much so that I had uncles saying, you must be adopted, girl. You're nothing like us. And they were right. I wasn't anything like them, even though we're family. The only thing I could say about that basically is that we shared DNA, and that's it. Because I was always this nerdy kid. And because I was that way, kids like to pick on me in school, rip up my homework, do stuff, blah, blah, always, testing me. But the trials and tribulations that I went through taught me how to be resilient, and as I got older and I learned, lessons, like I'm always talking about those lessons, because those lessons will either break you or strengthen you. And all the lessons I had to go, being in a organized religious cult, that you do, you don't ask a lot of questions. You just do what we tell you. These are the rules and regulations, and not being able to follow that and being casted out. Those are the words I'm going to use, being casted out from everything that since you were a young child. And at first I didn't think I could survive any of that. But what I learned throughout the years, through trial and error, people, that none of that stuff matter. Because what matter is how God feels about me. What matter is God lifting me up and helping me during those difficult times, because man can't give you that. Only God can. And when I think about what David went through with his brothers, and how they felt about him, I came to this conclusion, especially after watching the video. Um, their attitude was, why him? I have some notes here. Why him? Out of all of us, why him? And that's how I felt all my life. It's like family, especially siblings, why her out of everybody? And I came to the conclusion, especially after watching that movie, sometimes people just don't want you to have anything because it should be them instead of you, because you are the black sheep. You're the oddball, that marches to a different beat of a drum. You're not like everybody else, so why should you have A, B, C, and D? Why should you, have, whatever? Anybody else will be accepted except for you. And I'm starting to learn a lot more about envy, jealousy, and people just don't want to see people happy sometimes. They don't want to see you have things, and that's what David went through, with his brothers. David loved God and he had a lot of faith in him. And it took not only faith, but courage to stand in front of Goliath and to trust God because, if not, without the faith, he could have, anything could have happened. Sometimes God will confuse the enemies, haters, with something that might seem foolish, doesn't make sense to the natural eye, to mankind. And God can make something look weak and insignificant. However, that particular situation that may look weak and insignificant, that person can be extremely powerful, you know. And people, and if not at that particular time, the life experiences that they go through, these lessons will teach them. It will either break you or make you. And I talk about this because all the hell, all the criticism, all the isolation, all the negativity, malicious lies and gossip, and things that I had to suffer with throughout the years, even started when I was in school because I was different from everybody else. While everybody else is engaging and going out and hanging out, I'm into books, reading, doing things differently. Oh, she's weird. There's something wrong with her kind of attitude, you know. And God made us all differently, guys. Some of us even more so. It just is what it is. Um, my attitude about that today is stop judging a book by its cover if you have never read the pages within. So stop judging a book by its cover if you never read the pages within. And people do it all the time. They put you in a specific category and want to keep you in that category because of, and I've gone through so much of that, practically all my life, to the point now that as I did the work to heal and I stayed in prayer a lot, prayer, meditation, uplifting myself with positive videos on meditation and just pro and con list of things that I wanted to change for the better within my own life as I started to do the work to heal. And what I've learned is to be unbothered by the noise that may surround me. And at first, it was difficult to do that. The first thing I learned is boundaries. When you're on a journey to heal your mental and physical health and to change yourself for the better so you can be the best version of yourself, one thing that is important is to establish boundaries. Doesn't matter about the noise around you, because at first it's going to be loud, it's going to be screaming loud, but the boundaries will help you to stay focused as you stay on this journey to heal certain things in your life, the grief, the pain, the trauma bonding, all these things need to be healed. As I spoke about this on my platform yesterday, I talk about an outlet. If the pain doesn't have any place to go, it's going to stay within, stuck, stagnated. It's going to take a chokehold on you in your life, and it's going to spill over in your life and show itself in various ways. It's important to take care of your mental and physical health, because if you let that slip, it's going to start to show in everything that you do. So that's why it's important to make that a priority. And the noise around you where people think, oh, you shouldn't have this, blah, blah, people are going to say things all the time. I would get concerned if they're not talking, because this is what they do. What somebody should have and shouldn't have, all that stuff is noise. And the reason people why I'm so unbothered, because I'm very self-disciplined. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen last week, etc. It took time. And then one of the ways that I became unbothered is by setting boundaries, doing a pro and con list, self-care. After self love comes self care. And you start building yourself up and surrounding yourself with non toxic things, making your environment non toxic, which is very difficult to do in the world that we live in today, which is spinning mostly on darkness and toxicity. But you can build your own world within. I stay in prayer a lot. I'm careful as to what I share when it comes to my personal business, because sometimes when you cut off, besides setting boundaries, when you cut off the toxicity from your life, some people don't want to go. They want to follow you, and they want to keep bothering you, and that's something I never understood, and I still don't understand that today. If I have friendship or a situation where I'm in a relationship, right, or a friendship, whatever it is, or family, whatever, if that individual or don't want to be bothered anymore, I'm not chasing anyone, I'm not running behind anyone, I'm not begging. The old version of myself used to do that a lot. I can remember one time begging for over a year, not even too long ago, probably, let's say 4 years ago, doing that, with a particular family member. And I just gave up because I choose myself, running, chasing, and doing things, over giving to people who don't deserve to have you in their life, because they are self absorbed. They don't care about you, they care about what they can get from you. And all these things I had to look at, and it wasn't easy. And as I did the work with therapy and the work that I was given from the therapist to do, the pros and the con list, and I started to look at things, and I started to see behind the mask that people were wearing, whether it was friends, relationships, or family, didn't matter. How can I make things better? And sometimes you can't change people. Yesterday I said something about you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You can accept people as they are and leave them where they are as well, especially when it comes to toxicity. Because as you start to work on yourself to heal your mental and physical health, it's also includes limiting toxicity in your life. We can't get rid of all of it, but we can limit what we take in and what we accept around us. And those are one of the lessons I had to learn. You know, Situations, people, circumstances come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And many of these things are lessons, unlearned lessons. And when I learn them, I grow from them you know. And when I close doors, I don't think about it and then go reopen those doors, because I'm inviting the toxicity right back into my life, and I refuse to do it. And I used to talk to my therapist about this. When people, you set boundaries and they start disrespecting and crossing those boundaries, I have to cut them off. Why does it have to get to that point? And why does it get to the point where people won't leave you alone? They want to call your phone, they want to, continue to chase, and there's nothing to chase. Because sometimes we get to the end of the road. And when I say that, because certain people and circumstances are not supposed to stay in our life for the remaining of our life. They are lessons. And once we learn the lessons, we can move on. We can shut and padlock that door and start itching and moving towards inching and moving towards the new beginnings, because every door of toxicity that we shut helps it builds up our mental and physical, you know, our mental and physical health. Because carrying tons of bricks and burdens from somebody else, those are there. They have to carry their own. And burdens, I don't carry. And like I said, situations and circumstances take place all the time, but I give them to God because my focus is on healing, my mental and physical health and helping others. And one of the ways I do that is by sharing how I got through certain circumstances because we all encounter lessons. And the key factor is to learn those lessons as quickly as we can so that we don't have to repeat them. Because when you have to repeat those lessons, they are worse than ever. And, being a black sheep of the family has been hell. It had been, especially the younger version of myself going through all these things, and one of the things that really hurt me the most was the malicious lies of stuff that was said that I've done that I've never done in my life, that I would never attempt to do. And then coming from people who have been X out of my life just because they don't have access to me anymore. And I find that to be that these folks need to get on a journey to heal because at the point that I am at my life, I don't see myself chasing anyone. If I did something to someone or whatever, I'll sit and have a conversation and find a way that we can resolve it. And if that person doesn't want to do that, then I have to bid you goodbye. It's going to hurt or whatever. Yes, I'm human, but I'm not chasing after anything because anything that's worth having into my life is it's going to be a natural thing. And when I say a natural thing, when you have to fight and claw and chase after something, then to me it's not supposed to be there. And it doesn't matter if it's family or this or that, but if you have to always have these toxic connections and every time you connect with somebody is some kind of hell and fighting or argument, I can do without it because those things have been going on, for since I can remember. And at this point in my life, I will leave those things where they are so that I can move on. And another thing I have learned so far with these lessons and being a black sheep, not to hold resentment, because I used to do that before as well. But as I start to heal and grow and learn lessons, it's important to forgive people, forgive them. And the forgiveness is not for them, it's for you so that you can continue to move on and move on to your new beginnings. Because as you close that previous door, there's some good things behind these new door and new beginnings, new individuals that will come into your life that can be family, that will treat you better than your family have treated you all your life. There are good people still out there in this world today. There are good people, and I've come across a few, and you don't have to stay in a place of despair and depression just because, you're labeled a black sheep or whatever the case is. Take that and grow from it, and I've learned to do that. And it's been a hell of a lesson, a hard lesson, going back and forth just because you share DNA with people, just because you knew them since you were 10 or whatever the case. And I had that situation probably about a year ago with someone I've known since I was about, let's see, 12 or 13. And that person was a friend, was a huge part of my life. And when we reconnected, she didn't even know who I was anymore because the Lisa that she remembered when we disconnected is not the Lisa that exists today. And then she even made a comment, wow, you're not, no, I'm not the same. And I'm not, I'm generous and I'm helpful, loving, and want to help people, but I'm not going to be overgiving. I'm not running and chasing behind anything. It's going to be an equal give and take or nothing at all because my peace means everything to me. And one of the things my mom said when I had a last conversation with her and I visited her in person before she really got sick, because me and one of my sisters used to argue all the time, and just it used to really upset her a lot. And it's just dumb stuff, And my mom looked at me and she said, "You know what, Lisa, at this point in my life, I just want peace. I don't want to hear who did what to who and etc. and so forth. I just want peace." And for the first time in my life, and it had to take, after she passed away, for me to understand what that mean, people. Peace, from toxicity and the drama and the lies and the gossip and all of that. I don't need it anymore. So peace is better than being broken down into pieces and into drama and all this other stuff. And when people come to my table with that, they quickly know that I'm not accepting that. And people can't bring that to you unless you open the front door to it, and allow it in. And I stopped feeling guilty because this is my sibling or this is my auntie or whoever, family member. I don't feel bad about it because guess what? If it's toxic and it's bringing me, a lot of discomfort and drama and negativity, I'm going to set boundaries. And if the boundaries are crossed, that means I'm being disrespected. So it's time to say goodbye now. Wish you well. I forgive you, but I have to move on to take care of me. And that's why I'm talking to somebody today who needs to put themselves first. And people think that's selfish, but it's necessary for your mental and physical health so it doesn't continue to suffer. And so the pain doesn't continue to have a chokehold on your life. Let people stay where they are. If they can't respect your boundaries, let them stay where they are so that you can move forward, grow, heal, and evolve and take care of you and put yourself as a priority. And let them call you selfish and whatever. I leave it where it is. And I tell people I forgive you, and I talk to them about healing their pain and trauma as well. Because when you don't heal those things, you stay stuck in a toxicity, and hurt people will hurt other people. And if they don't start on a path and journey to heal that, that will always be the scenario. And I know I don't want those things in my life, so I move on. And we are supposed to love ourselves, people. We are supposed to take care of ourselves. And if somebody's jealous of you because you taking care of yourself, maybe you're going to the gym and maybe you're doing things that build yourself up so that you can be okay, and somebody's envious of that, I leave people where they are. That's their problem. Tell them I invite you to heal, because we all need to do that because we living in a world and you see where we are with it. And things don't look good right now. And one of the things I do is stay in prayer with God and ask him to direct me and help me. My faith and relationship with God is good. And you don't have to have somebody to um, tell you how your relationship should be with God. That's why Jesus died, so we can communicate with God directly, and do that at times. This channel is to build people up, lift them up, not to be here to judge somebody because of whatever. We're here to lift one another up. There's too much of that in this world today. So anyone who resonates with this, being a black sheep of the family, keep moving forward. And as you heal these things and gravitate to new beginnings, you'll meet new people who may be like family to you and who will be there to support you on this journey and to help you move forward. That's what this is all about. So that's the message today, guys. Thank you for being here. Please invite others to the channel so that they can listen and be uplifted. And let's keep paying it forward. Because as you do that, you're helping yourself too as you help others. This is Lisa shedding love and light. Thank you all for being here today and have a blessed day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.